He's not bothering you. Come back in here. Go sit down. Go sit down. Big chill, Missy.
Ow. Just warning you, but Missy, you gotta get out of the way.
Well, it's too late now. We're already live. Oh, we're live? Yeah. Oh, shoot. Now everybody can see me in shorts. Oh, my God. Everybody knows you're wearing shorts. For the 0 people that are here. It's my white legs. Okay, cut that part out. Okay. Okay. And we're live?
Yeah, we've been live for like 2 minutes now.
I hate that anybody might have seen me in my shorts moving stuff on top of the china cabinet. Oh, we're not used to having the orientation of the picture that way. So, okay, so today we're going to talk about can't miss kitchen ingredient essentials. And we're going to do a quick recipe that will have you having dinner in no time at all. So, but first let's talk about the spices and things like that that Sarah and I cannot live without. And hers are not exactly the same as mine. So
they're pretty similar.
Pretty similar. I think they're probably similar for most people who cook a lot. So, number 1, I couldn't do anything in my kitchen without salt. This is how I keep my salt. And if we listened, I think it was last week, we talked about kosher salt versus sea salt versus Himalayan salt versus table salt. But I use kosher salt, and there it is in there. And pepper. And there's my pepper. And the reason I have them in these little jars is because they sit on a shelf right over my stove. And that way I can just grab a little bit and sprinkle it in when I'm cooking.
Yeah, I like to use my pepper mill.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
When you're cooking?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than sprinkling?
Mm-hmm.
Sarah has a very fancy pepper mill.
Yes, that came in a mystery box at the Le Creuset factory reject sale.
I traded her. I got the pepper mill.
Yeah, it was a pepper mill and a salt shaker.
Yeah, and they match, and they're ombre color, right?
Yeah, they're gray ombre.
Yeah, kind of strange color.
Yeah.
But she got enamel coated cast iron Dutch oven.
5-quart Dutch oven.
She got several of them. So
yeah, I got 2 in one box. It was a $1,200 box that I only paid $50 for.
She didn't even pay the $50. I paid the $50. Anyway, we'll move on. This is garlic powder. I don't have a particular brand I like. This one I think came from Sam's Club.
I think we put garlic powder in every recipe.
I think we do too. So, garlic powder. Do you think it matters what brand?
No, but I've been exclusively buying the one that comes on the international food aisles, the Badia.
Oh, yeah, Badia. I don't know how
to pronounce it, but I've been buying
It's the best deal.
Yeah, because it's the cheapest.
And it comes in a container like this size.
Yeah. I did notice, so I bought a mega container like that from Sam's Club one time, and it took me like a year to use it all. And I noticed that by the end of the year, it did not have the same taste or smell. And that's true. Your spices will go bad, so it's important to clean out your spice drawer.
But it's important to not just go by the date that's on there. Take a little taste.
Yeah.
If it tastes like dirt or dust, then
no flavor, you should get rid of it.
Get rid of it. And if it still has flavor, just not as much, just use more of it until it's gone. But don't throw it out just because of the date. So
yeah, but I have some spices that I've had for 10 years.
Are they still good?
I don't know. I've never even opened them.
So you should probably throw those out.
I probably should.
10 years is a lot for spices. This is one onion powder. right hand in hand with garlic powder.
We put it in everything.
But I'm going to tell you, this is a mistake. This one right here is a mistake. I didn't pay attention. It says fine powder onion. See that?
Oh, it's like the consistency of powdered sugar.
Yeah, like baby powder. And it, first of all, when you put it in what you're...
It just like wafted out of there.
Yeah, that's it. When you put it in what you're cooking, a bunch of it goes in the air and it goes up your nose and in your mouth, and you just taste onion for several minutes. That's gross. And then it doesn't seem to have a lot of flavor when you add it to stuff. So make sure you get like the granulated onion powder. And this is Members Mark. It must have come from Sam's Club, so, or maybe Walmart, but I think Sam's Club.
We should get a food dehydrator and show people how to make their own, because those are expensive.
Yeah, but how much work is making onion powder and garlic powder? And garlic powder would be expensive too.
You just have to dry it out and then grind it up with a coffee grinder.
Okay, well, I have a food dehydrator in there, and you can use it and make that as a video.
Okay.
And you can keep the dehydrator because I've never used it for anything but apples.
Well, I've been wanting to try it to make like dehydrated fruits and stuff.
Okay. You're welcome to it.
Okay. Well, anyways.
Okay. So the other thing I wanted to show is vinegar. It doesn't have to be apple cider vinegar, although I think apple cider vinegar is probably one of the most versatile vinegars. That or white vinegar.
Yeah, I have really been liking red wine vinegar lately.
Yeah. It's kind of the same flavor profile as apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, it's good in like salad dressings.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I keep white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, and I have rice vinegar. I use that a lot.
Is that the same thing? No, that's not mirin.
No, mirin is different.
But anyway.
But I do use a lot of rice vinegar. And I have 4 vinegars that I keep on hand all the time. Because I also use red wine vinegar.
I have a number of vinegars. But if I had to pick just a few things, like if I lived in a tiny apartment or a small home or something like that, this is what I would have. I would have salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, apple cider vinegar, and cayenne.
Mm-hmm.
And butter. You got to have some kind of oil. So an olive oil and a vegetable oil. But the main spice component or flavor component would be right here. There's a few other things that I can't live without, and we'll go over those in a second. But if I only had a limited amount of space, I think this makes that. To me, that's the group of things that I would have to have.
I think you could do the most with that.
What would you take something away or add something?
I think to that I would add some of my other stuff from the other categories.
But if you only could have, would you start with this as a starter set?
Yeah, I don't know if I would choose cayenne. I think I would choose another spice. Like maybe paprika. No, not paprika. It doesn't do enough. I don't know.
I just picked cayenne because it doesn't add a lot of individual flavor. In my book, I don't think it does. It just adds heat. So, little tiny sprinkle of cayenne, and then you've got, like, you've turned your deviled eggs into, like...
Deviled eggs.
Deviled eggs. And then, they get your attention. That's how deviled eggs were supposed to be done at first anyway, was that they were supposed to be a little spicy. That's why they were called deviled. But I think that spiciness has left most people's deviled egg flavor profile. But anyway, so it gets your attention, or you add a little bit to soup, and it takes so little. I think I used 1 bottle of cayenne forever before I needed another one. So, you could do like red pepper flakes instead, but they're so hard to... It's so hard to manage how much is the right amount of those. Yeah. So.
And if you put even just the tiniest bit too much, then it's like hot as hell.
Exactly that. Okay, so let's talk about these other things. So if you have a tiny bit more space, here's where I would go next. Or do you want to talk about where you would go next, Sarah?
Well, I think that I think I'm a maximalist, which is why I like to have 4 vinegars.
Yeah.
I would also want to have like 2 or 3 different kinds of oil. I have 3 different kinds of oil. I use olive oil, I have vegetable oil, and I count butter as an oil because that's what I use it for cooking.
I also have peanut oil.
Yeah, peanut oil is good. So well, in the next category, my pick for whatever, I don't know what that is.
That's a balsamic.
Oh, balsamic vinegar. I also have balsamic vinegar and balsamic glaze. like
I do too.
I use a lot of lemon juice and lime juice. And then I don't like to buy these. I like to use fresh lemons and limes because then I can also zest them.
I buy these because I keep this mostly because of canning, but then I find that it's helpful, like when I can't find my apple cider vinegar, or I can't find, I need it. So let's talk about what vinegars and lemon juice do in your food. I can give you a good example. I cooked some cabbage yesterday, and it had some potatoes in it, and I had put everything in there, and I tasted it, and I was just like, that tastes, it has like a flat flavor or a dead taste to it. It just didn't, there wasn't anything lively about it. So I added a splash of, I think I used apple cider vinegar, but it wouldn't matter what kind of vinegar I added, because what I needed was that brightness. It needed a bright element.
A little zing.
A little zing. And so I could have used any type of vinegar, or I could have used lemon juice, or I could have even used lime juice. Although lime does tend to add a different flavor.
Lime is different than lemon.
But if you have to have that pick-me-up, then one of those will do. So that's what it does. Brightness in your food. You want to talk about something else?
Let's see. The other thing that I use a lot, and I just put in like a little sprinkle, is MSG, which I have like MSG from the Asian supermarket, and Mom uses accent salt. It's the same thing.
I don't go to the Asian market enough to get MSG. I've never picked any up there. But this is just MSG, accent seasoning.
Yeah,
there's no seasoning to it. It's a white powder.
Yeah, it kind of looks like salt, but the crystals are slightly different. It just adds a little extra. And if you don't go over, there was all that stuff in the 90s about how terrible MSG was for you, but none of that's actually true. It's not, obviously, if you were going to be like guzzling it, sure, that's probably not great. But if you just add a little pinch, it adds, like if I use it, especially if I'm doing something with meat, because it adds extra, it makes the meat taste more meaty.
It's umami.
Yeah.
So we can talk about our umami things that we have sitting here. If you're fixing a meat or putting a marinade together, or a dish that needs more heartiness to it, it's like lentils or pinto beans, or then you may want to add more umami, and you could achieve that with your MSG, or any of these other things: Worcestershire sauce, soy sauce, and fish sauce. A1. Now, where you have to kind of be careful in adding these is several of them will make things taste more salty. Accent will certainly make things taste more salty. I assume plain old MSG will as well.
Yeah.
If you're not careful. So add those first, and then if you need more salt, add a little salt, but be careful. Do it in small amounts, stir, let it dissolve, then taste. See where you're at, then add a little more. Same thing for Worcestershire and soy sauce. They'll make things exceptionally salty really quick, so be careful.
What are you laughing about? Go EV said so informative, and that is Richard.
Oh, hey Richie. A1 will add meatiness also. It tends to be a little sweet, so remember that. And fish sauce, most people are like, ooh, I don't want my food to taste fishy. It doesn't add a fishy flavor.
Yeah.
It smells like hell. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah, it's not great.
That is the worst smell ever. I don't know why it makes things taste so good. It only tastes just a little bit. So, like, to a pound of ground beef, you might add 10 drops.
Oh, you took the cap off. It stinks.
It's like an old stinky shoe with a fish in it. Or something.
You're not doing a great job at selling people on the fish sauce.
But I promise you, it makes things taste so much better.
I put fish sauce in just about everything. I know last time Molly and Chen were over, and he was looking in my pantry. I was cooking something, and he like opened up the pantry and was inspecting it, and he was like, "This is like the Asian grocery store in here. You even have fish sauce." And I was like, "Duh! I put it in everything."
Yep. Lots of times people ask me this, they'll say, I'm diabetic and I can't add sugar to whatever they're fixing. So if you're doing making something, not a bakery item, but like a salad dressing. Balsamic dressing, balsamic vinegar has a sweet flavor to it, but it doesn't have any sugar. And even smells sweet. So that's one way you can add brightness and sweetness to something. Here's the caveat about balsamic vinegar, though. You want to buy a really good one. This one came from one of those olive oil and vinegar stores. And it's like the 100, I don't have my glasses on, but like 100-year balsamic or something like that. What does it say on there?
18-year barrel
18-year barrel aged. It's
balsamic.
very expensive, but it tastes really good. And I'm not going to just dump a whole bunch of this in a recipe. This is like for when you eat it raw or as is.
You could dip bread in it.
Yeah.
I really like to do that as a snack. I got some naan bread from Aldi one time, and then I took some oil and some balsamic and just put them together, and that's like a really good snack.
That sounds good. So, the other things that you might, I keep sriracha on hand just as a hot sauce. I keep 4 kinds of hot sauces in my refrigerator, but this is one of them.
But you don't eat spicy food very often.
No, but I add it to recipes.
Okay.
Like to sauces, meat sauces and, well, that's mostly weird. Soups sometimes. Mustards. I have a plain old yellow mustard for like hot dogs and things. And then Dijon and whole grain. And those, they have their own flavors, but they're really good like to marinate meat with.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that? Marinate meat with. Mm-hmm. So, and then the 2 other spices that I just can't live without are cumin and paprika. And I don't use them near as much as I use some of this other stuff, but I like having them. So again, if I only had a little bit of space, these would be 2 that went in there.
Yeah.
So, how about you?
I think the only other stuff that I use it for specific things. Like I always keep ghee on hand so that I can make popcorn, and I like to put lemon pepper on my popcorn. So I keep a thing of lemon pepper all the time.
You don't make your own lemon pepper?
I didn't know I could make my own lemon pepper.
Oh yeah.
You scoffed at me wanting to make garlic powder and onion powder. How in the hell do you make lemon pepper?
You just makes a little, well, like as a little
sauce.
lemon juice with lemon peel and pepper.
No, that's a sauce. You can't put that on popcorn because then the popcorn will disintegrate.
You could drizzle it a little bit.
Ranch powder.
Oh, ranch powder.
Ranch
yes,
powder.
You gotta have ranch powder. That makes everything taste good because it has MSG in it. But when you see Hidden Valley Ranch salad dressing powder in a recipe, it's mostly for the MSG.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much for the other spices that are in there.
Our viewer, GoEV, said Lusty Monk mustard is the king of mustard.
It really is. I haven't seen it in a while, and I haven't ordered it either.
Yeah, they make it in Nashville. It's the best mustard that you can get.
It is the best mustard.
Also,
but if you're running in Food Lion, this is what they have.
Yeah. Also, another good snack is mustard like this, a little toast crusty, and a little brie cheese.
That sounds good.
That is good. And then if you put something sweet on it, like a sweet pepper jelly or something, that's good.
Yeah, pepper jelly, yum. Okay, well, let's talk about our recipe. Let me move this stuff out of here.
Okay.
In the spirit of quick, easy to use spices, I need my core 5 here.
Here.
Okay. Yeah. So this is something else that I keep. McCormick's chicken gravy, which I know for somebody that cooks for a living, that seems like the worst kind of cheat ever. But it's a great flavor. It probably has MSG in it too, if you want to know the truth. But it's a great way to finish up a meal and do so quickly, because I know lots of people have a lot to do when they get home. They don't have time to be futzing around in the kitchen with food. They just want to get dinner on the table. So if you wanted to do this chicken dish, it takes 5 minutes or less to put it together, and then you just pop it in the oven, come back in an hour, and it's done. Well, come back in an hour, add your chicken gravy, stir it up, and then it's done. And what could you do with that? You could make a minute rice, or like just the warm and serve rice that comes in the packets, which I used to think, why would you do that? It's so easy to make rice. But if you're pinched for time, that might be why you do it. Pick up a prepared salad at the grocery store or stop at a restaurant on your way home, get a salad that your family can share, then you have spent less than 10 minutes preparing your dinner. This will take an hour in the oven, and dinner's on the table, and it's something decently healthy that tastes good, and there's a vegetable, there's a starch, and there's a meat, so call it good. Anyway, all right, so I have already taken the chicken out of the package, and I've got 6 bone-in chicken thighs with the skin on. You could do this with any cut of chicken you prefer. It could be boneless, skinless breasts or thighs. It could be all legs. It could be however you want it. If you don't like the skin on, pull the skin off. That's up to you. But this is what I like, so this is what we're doing. Just know that it may take a little less time. Like breasts, thinner breasts that are like this, that are boneless and skinless, are going to take maybe 30 minutes. If you cut up a whole chicken in here, it might take a little more than an hour. But anyway, the recipe stands, whatever you do. So I'm going to do salt and pepper first. And you may think that's a lot of salt, but remember, if you go back to last week and we talk about kosher salt, you'll understand that that's not that much.
And it's really not, because when you pour the water and when you put the other stuff off, it's going to come off.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all going to stick.
All right, and this is pepper. And I love pepper, so I'm doing a lot, but you don't have to do that much. And then garlic powder. And if you hear some snorting and snorking, that's my foster dog I'm going to have for a week. He's in there snoring, it sounds like. I'm going to avoid the onion powder because, like I said, it puffs up, and it's... But put a little onion powder on yours. And I don't want to do the cayenne because I'm afraid it will
be too much.
And I'm going to do a little fish sauce. You could use Worcestershire instead. Just a few drops. Like I'm going to say that's 20 drops. And then you put about a cup and a half of water just down. Don't pour it over the top. Put it down in here. Stick the whole thing in a preheated 350 oven. Oh, my paprika. I was going to put paprika on it. But that's okay.
Here.
Oh, Sarah can still reach the paprika.
And are you going to put the packet of chicken gravy in there?
Not yet. I'm going to tell them about that. So, the paprika, I think, doesn't add so much flavor as it just gives it a pretty color.
Yeah.
So, you put this in the oven, put the water in there, stick it in the oven, and then just let it sit for an hour. The chicken will make more drippings and water, and you don't have to worry about covering it with tinfoil or anything. The skin will crisp up a little bit. When you get it out, take some tongs, remove the chicken to a plate. Then, with the juice that's in there, take your packet of chicken gravy, open it up, and mix that with a fork with the drippings that are in the pan. That makes a gravy. And then you just put your chicken back in there and spoon the gravy over the top so that it moistens the top. And you're done. That's it. That's the whole recipe. Isn't that easy? And it's really, really delicious. I like it over I like this whole dish over mashed potatoes, but I'm a white food girl, so.
We like carbs.
Yeah, I love carbs. So anyway, that's my easy, done in an hour. Takes 5 minutes. It took me 2 minutes probably here telling you how to do it. And it's done. So anyway, we had some questions this week, right?
And I'm saying bye to Richie.
Bye, Richie. Sarah's having to stay on the computer and monitor it because our first episode we got some trolls.
Yeah.
And we realized that we can't do this without a moderator, and since we don't have a moderator, she just has to watch and kick the trolls out when they come in. So, but anyway, we had a few reader questions, listener questions.
Okay.
If she can get to them.
So these are not pertaining to seasonings necessarily, but
Just questions.
Okay. Somebody asks, how do I know when I can use a rotisserie chicken versus when I have to cook the chicken myself for a video?
How do you know?
Well, if it's something like this where you are putting together, like you're making like this, you need to cook the chicken yourself. But if it's something like if you're going to make a dip or
a casserole,
a casserole or something like that, where you don't necessarily need the chicken to be cooked in the thing, you know, like with this all together, then you can use a rotisserie chicken.
Yeah. Just keep in mind the chicken's already cooked. And so if the application is one where you can use already cooked chicken, then you're golden. So chicken salad, perfect for rotisserie chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sarah said, Sarah has some great like buffalo chicken dip recipes.
Bacon dip. Oh, that's bacon, not chicken. But you could put chicken in it.
You could put chicken in it. What are some other things?
Your tater tot casserole, does it have chicken in it?
I think it does. So things like that where the chicken is already cooked before you assemble the thing. We usually give instructions for like cutting up some chicken breast and cooking it in a pan and then doing that. But when you see that the final dish is assembled with the cooked chicken, that's where you can use a rotisserie chicken. Mm-hmm. And rotisserie chicken usually has a ton of flavor. Mm-hmm. So that's a great use for that. Yeah. And if you go to Sam's Club or Costco
is $5 rotisserie chickens.
And they're big.
Yeah. I've the past 2 weeks, I've gotten a rotisserie chicken and used it for like salads and stuff during the week for lunches.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The rotisserie chickens at my local grocery are tiny and they're expensive. They're like $8 and the whole thing is that big. It's little. So you're best off to go to like Costco or Sam's Club.
Yeah. So the next question that we got was, I like cooking my sausages in a frying pan and didn't know you can cook them in the oven. How do I know what methods I can use to cook things?
Here's something I learned in a crock pot cookbook. The lady who wrote the cookbook said, you can cook anything using any cooking apparatus you want to use. Mm-hmm. You just have to figure out how long and the method. But it's going to be similar. And you can cook your sausages in an air fryer, in a toaster oven, in a skillet, in the oven, in an Instant Pot. You could do it any way that you have a way to cook it. It's going to require a little bit of experimentation probably, and to make sure that you have cooked it completely. So a good thing to have in your kitchen is a good kitchen thermometer, because you want your sausage to be cooked probably to an internal temp of like 165, I'm going to guess. Mm-hmm. But it may take a lot longer. So like a crock pot set on low to cook your sausage is going to take hours. Whereas, you can boil it. Boiling it's going to cook it relatively quickly. And also another difference is the outside of the sausage. So the outside of the thing you're cooking. Like this chicken, we could make the skin crispy if we crisped it up under the broiler in the oven. But it's not going to be real crispy cooking it this way, just because of the fact of the cooking method. Yeah. You got anything to add to that?
No.
So, Sarah has taught me that as much as anybody else when she started using her air fryer. Oh, I did such and such in the air fryer, and it was good.
I made cookies in the air fryer one time.
See?
Okay, the last question that we got is, why do you leave mistakes and things in your videos?
Why do we leave mistakes in our videos?
Mm-hmm. Partially because I'm too lazy to edit them out. That's not necessarily true, but
honesty hour.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because we're not professionals and shit happens when you're cooking. The other day, I was making a video, and not the other day, last night I was trying to make a video. I was making orange chicken, and I had deep fried my chicken, and then I had to, I caught all this on video. I deep fried my chicken, and then I took the oil and I set a bowl in the sink to pour the hot oil in because I was going to use the same pan. So I poured the hot oil in that bowl, but then I needed to like rinse out the pan really quick to get there was stuff stuck to it. And I accidentally put cold water in the hot oil in the pan. And I screamed, it bubbled up. Richie thought the sink exploded. It was really bad. Well, that finally got under control. Then when I went to go start making the sauce, I put my garlic and my ginger and my chili flakes in the pan with a little oil, but the pan was still too hot. And so then I had garlic and chili flakes, you know, going everywhere. I fully plan on leaving some of that in the video because that's what happens when you cook at home. You make mistakes. And if, you know, if I didn't leave that in, you would think that I'm perfect, and I'm not.
We're not perfect, that's for sure.
My kitchen was a mess. There was stuff, oil splattered everywhere.
We try to be reasonably clean. We are reasonably clean people. But sometimes when you're cooking, messes happen. And mistakes happen.
Yeah.
And you need to know that even as professional cooks,
professional in that we do this for a job,
stuff still happens.
Yeah.
So I made coffee in my travel setup, and I know good and well not to close the little thing on my electric kettle. For whatever reason, I just did out of, I don't know, wasn't even habit. It was just because my finger wanted to do it. And then when I went to take the lid loose, a hot water explosion happened.
Yeah.
So we just turned it into a short on.
Yeah.
And in the voiceover, I said, here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to close that lid all the way. And I'm going to show you why in a minute.
Yeah. I made cookies today for a video, and they did not turn out how I had hoped they turn out, but they still tasted good. So I'll probably still use the video because they tasted good.
So anyway, that's why we sometimes leave mistakes. And in the written recipes on loavesandishes.net, I try not to have any mistakes in the recipe, but sometimes things happen. And when somebody tells me, I go and make a change. If I've left off an instruction or something like that, I fix those because you need to know how to do it perfectly. So that's what that is.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Nope, that was it. Okay, well, if you have a question, just email it in to us, leave it as a comment on a video, or leave a comment over at loavesandishes.net. We'll be happy to answer your questions. Yep. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, well, we're done with this live, so see you next time. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Where's the
Right
end?
up your nose.
Yeah, well...